You are listening to Blue Please here on CynicalBrit.com. It's the illusion of choice. Well, I'm a vandal when it comes to these windows. Right, it's your chance to contribute to the show, folks. We've got some great emails here, and I'm going to choose one. And yes, at the end of the show, we will not only be doing Zerg Please, my first placement match in the leagues, folks. See how I've improved. And those asking about the videos, right, here's how it goes, right. We've got Zerg Please, which is audio commentary, and we've got I Suck at StarCraft 2. I Suck at StarCraft 2 is more of a documentary than it is commentary. Yeah? You'll notice that I don't use the same style of shoutcasting as, say, I did on the winning entry for the Shoutcast Contest 2009, as sponsored by Blizzard Entertainment. You know, I don't use the same style of commentary for that. Obviously, because I'm talking in an analytical sense about everything I did wrong. So, they're two very different things. Now, this placement match, all of the replays with StarCraft 2 actually get recorded, right? So this placement match will also get recorded. Now, what that means is, in the long run, you will get to see this. However, it's going to take a little bit of time in order for that to happen. Right? So, I wouldn't get too stressed out about it. What I will do is release a replay file. And yes, if you are not in the beta, you can watch replays at the moment. There is a way to do it. Just Google the instructions. I believe it involves something about just dragging the replay file onto StarCraft 2, and it'll automatically launch and it will let you watch it. So what I'll do is I'll do in the style of all of the old replays that have been done for Warcraft 3 and StarCraft, just a shoutcasted audio replay. I'll provide Zerg Please for you. You'll be able to sync it up with your replay, and you'll be able to watch the replay as I do the commentary, and then you can look at whatever you want. That sounds like a reasonable way to do it. I don't want to put out a video of this yet, just because I'm trying to do a series of me getting progressively better. And this match right here is about 10 matches ahead of what's up on YouTube, so I'm sure you can understand. Anyway, the illusion of choice, ladies and gentlemen. If I am lagging right now, I certainly hope not. I'm actually trying to patch StarCraft 2 because a patch came out effectively during the show, and I wasn't able to get everything sorted out for that. It does still use that bloody BitTorrent client, so I am really, really hoping that it's not lagging my shoutcasting right now, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, illusion of choice time. Yes, indeed. This is an interesting one. Yes, I'll just briefly mention this because this is ridiculous. I was wondering if you heard of the Rawcast versus WoW.com situation. Apparently, WoW.com accused Stomp and Hafrot of being rumor mongers after saying on their show that they heard from a reputable source that Blizzard would be taking their TCG in-house. Of course, after the story was found out to be true, WoW.com posted their story on it and left out the fact that Rawcast's been right without any sort of apology for their slander. Yeah, don't even get me started on WoW.com, man. Seriously, WoW.com are the biggest rumor mongers in the entire freaking community. Yellow journalism comes naturally to them. Remember they were the guys that were perpetuating this absurd story without any evidence to back it up at all, that the authenticator was hackable, and that the authenticator didn't make your account secure. And you know what? All that does is rabble-rouse and scares the hell out of people. It's yellow journalism. It's all it is. It's nonsense. And yeah, WoW.com is the biggest freaking rumor mill. They were not the only person to post this. You know, Rawcast came up with something that the MMO Champion came up with. It probably came from the same damn source. So WoW.com got upset that they didn't scoop the information. Let's see how many times WoW.com's been wrong lately. Very wrong. They're, you know, almost everything, their big exclusives and supposed leaks of Reddit turned out to be false. It's nonsense. They can't be trusted. So, you know, screw WoW.com, quite frankly. I know for a fact that Rawcast has a source that is reputable. I also know for a fact that MMO Champion has a source that is reputable. So, don't get me started on WoW.com's rumor milling. They make up more crap than anyone else in the WoW community. And you should take everything they post with a gigantic pillar of salt, which I must say, quite frankly, I would hope that a few of them turn into when they hear this damn podcast. They probably have some kind of instruction where it's like, don't listen to Totalbiscuit, otherwise something terrible will happen to you, and your self-esteem. I mean, about half the staff on there actually write good stuff, and then there's just a choice few of them that are absolutely awful, and they need to just stop posting, in general. Anyway, yeah, there you go. Little rant, you wanted it, you asked for it. You've got it. Right, let's do a real illusion of choice. This one comes from Demargus. He's from EU Frostmon. He has this to say. Hey, numbnuts! Well, that's not very nice, is it? He asked me, why is it that you like people getting a tad abusive? Mainly because I hate sycophancy. So, yeah, there you go. Right, here's his question. I'd like to hear your take on the current status of the game content surrounding actual raid content, i.e. farming for consumables, attunements, rep grinding and resistance gear. In Wrath of the Lich King, we've seen a rather drastic overhaul of the things that players sometimes had to do in order to be able to raid. It's pretty much down to the instances alone, the enchanting, the gems, and the min-maxing surrounding it. They're all being somewhat straightforward now, with farming not being much of an issue. The willingness to grind was one of the areas of the game, of course, where the distinction between casual and hardcore really came into play. And today you will see people turning into alcoholics and achievement whores and getting their grind on that way. Do you think that this development is nothing but positive as you play for the content and shouldn't have to put in work into being able to go there, or at least in order to get something done in raids? Or should aspects of this be restrained, for example, in heroic modes? Yeah. Right, okay. It's an interesting question. I think, honestly, that the lion's share of the judgment as to whether or not you are good at the game should be your skill. Yeah? How well you play. I railed against attunements for a long time. I offer no apologies for that at all. Because I was right. It's as simple as that. I was absolutely right on that one. You want to know why I was right? Because nobody should be kept out of an instance simply on the basis of doing an unrelated quest, yeah, or doing a previous instance. The only baseline that you should have to meet is the skill required to beat the fight, and that is it. That's all. That's all you should need. Blizzard evidently agrees. There you go. Although, having said that, they've gone back on that a little bit lately with the hard modes, which, I disagree. Why should you have to beat everything in order to get to the hard modes? Why can't you just start on the hard modes if you feel like it? Yeah, I know it's going to be incredibly hard, and you might not be geared for it, but that's your decision. That's your raid's decision. There are some guilds that would like to do that, especially with the unlocking nonsense that was going on with ICC. Right, so flasks, things like that. Flasks are weird because back in the day, flasks were expensive, they were more powerful than they are right now, and they were considered to be the domain of the hardcore. Yeah? Right now, they've become standard. And you know what's weird about that? They became standard, and as a result, why do they even exist? Why don't you just buff every class the amount that a flask costs? Yeah? Or at least in terms of how much it provides. So say I get 65 or whatever extra damage, I can't even remember, from the Flask of the Frostworm. So why don't you... Actually, it's not 65, is it? Wow, that was like the Flask of Supreme Power or something. Oh, I'm living in the past, folks. Whatever. Why don't you just give all casters that extra spell power as a passive? Why not? Is it the cost factor? Should people have to buy these flasks in order to reach a certain level of play? What purpose does it serve? Well, I suppose one could argue that if you didn't have flasks, then alchemy would be freaking terrible. You know, consumables in general. But they've nerfed consumables so much that selling potions, for instance, is just... It barely happens. You know, 1 mana potion per fight, big deal. Barely makes a difference with refreshment these days. Back in the day, it was... You had encounters balanced around the fact that people could chug multiple pots. That's no longer the case. There's no point in using elixirs anymore. They don't stack. So it's flask or nothing. It's weird. It's a really, really weird situation. It's one of those things that I think is a relic of bygone raiding days, and they kept it in there just for the sake of keeping it in there. Why is it even there, honestly? One has to wonder, honestly, why it's still there at all, and what purpose it serves. I suppose it's just that little barrier to entry. It's kind of the same as repair costs. One wonders why that's there. Well, there's a difference between repair costs and the alchemy flasks. Well, repair costs, they're a money sink, yeah? They're a penalty for death. Flasks, they're neither of those things. They're not a money sink. They don't make money disappear from the economy. They just go to somebody else who makes them. It's obviously a vital part of a profession, and I think they can't get rid of it now, because if they did, they'd break the prof. Let's be honest. I mean, they've already broken the prof quite a lot. Alchemy's pretty bad in the grand scheme of things in terms of wrath. But I suppose I understand why it's still there. I suppose it kind of makes sense why it's still there, just because you can't really get rid of it. I think they'll probably revamp it somewhat, but it makes me wonder, why should someone pay extra money just to do raiding? And the answer, of course, is going to be, well, they don't have to. They don't need a flask. But, of course, it's guild standard for anyone that doesn't suck to bring a flask and, of course, to bring a fish feast and things like that. I suppose one can derive value from giving the choice to a group of players as to whether or not they really want to go all out. It's the measure of a guild, the measure of a group, the measure of a pug. If people are willing to sink money into it, maybe it's kind of a psychological thing. I sunk money into this raid, so I'm going to try harder to justify my investment. That kind of makes sense, doesn't it? There's a psychological reason for keeping flasks, keeping fish feasts in the game. I used money. I spent money. It's the same as the deterrent, yeah? Not only is it a money sink, but it's a deterrent from dying, repair costs. So, you don't want to die because it's going to cost you money. And you want to do the best because you have spent money, you have invested. You've spent money on your flasks, you've spent money on your fish feasts. The guild has spent money, and it's spending time. So maybe that helps guilds, and even pugs, push harder and be better. Maybe. It's possible, isn't it, guys? You know, is that entirely out of the realms of possibility? I don't think so. The grind itself, yeah, has absolutely dissipated, and I really don't miss farming elemental earth. I don't. Come to the Cthulhu raid. We have many things, including the ability to waste major nature resistance potions. Oh, man, I still have a stack of those in my bank. It's a reminder of bygone ages. Does anyone really think that was a good thing? Honestly? No, I don't think it was at all. I think it was absolutely bloody abysmal. There you go. There you go. Not something I miss, honestly. Overall, I would say that the removal of the grind has been a relatively good thing. You still have to work, but not very hard. You just need to do a couple of dailies. And I think the two major aspects to consider are the fact that you can't get rid of flasks, because if you do, alchemy's broken. Even more so than it already is. And you provide this kind of incentive, this investment. If the player invests in something and they have to spend money, they will naturally try harder in order to fulfill the goal so as not to waste their own cash. It's a powerful motivator, folks. That's my argument. And that was Totalbiscuit's Psychology 101 as applied to raiding and flasks. There you go. I think we're about done here, folks. Now, I'm still downloading this StarCraft patch. It might take a little while, so I'll do some music in the meantime. I'm going to try and keep you entertained. We're going to just keep going all night long here on Blue, please. And it'll also give me a chance to get something to eat, and then we can do some Zerg, please. Shout-out time, folks. Get them in. Get them in to themurloc@gmail.com, or PM me on IRC, or tweet me if you wish. Twitter.com/TotalBiscuit. There you go. Do it! Do it now! Absolutely. Get your shout-outs in. And a quick reminder, of course, contest, folks. Review Blue, please. Be honest. I'm not asking for sycophancy. I hate that. I'm not asking for dishonesty. I want your honest opinion of this show. Put it in there. It's great feedback for us. It helps promote the show. It gives us ranking on iTunes. It's really good. Take a screenshot of your review. Email it. It doesn't matter what language it's in. You can do it in Swedish, Norwegian, Swahili, whatever the hell you like, on your appropriate iTunes region. Email a screenshot to me. Just print screen with Microsoft Paint or whatever, and email it to themurloc@gmail.com. You have 1 week. I'll announce the winner of the StarCraft 2 beta key next week, and we're hoping to have a bunch more stuff to give away as well. So keep an eye on the website for information on future giveaways, interviews, and all good stuff. Actually got a post up right there right now called State of Play. Tells you all about what's going on in the next couple of weeks on the website. Lots of stuff there, cynicalbrit.com. Go check it out. Even if you're an iTunes listener, there is additional content there for you to have a look at. Shout-out times, as promised. So, here's one from Lil Rex, and he says, you have 2 new listeners I brought you today. So can I get a shout-out to Lectro and Uno of Carpe Noctem? Seize the night, I assume. Ah, yes, Latin. On Sengen US. There you go. Absolutely, you can have a shout-out, Lil Rex. A shout-out to me for upgrading from Windows Vista to Windows 7. Oh, the joy! Ah, yes, absolutely fantastic. That's from Ragavale from Doomhammer EU. A shout-out to Zulkin's grandparents for returning home from their usual winter vacation in Florida and returning to a foot of snow. Yeah, I heard you guys are getting really bad over there. We just got a lot of rain today. Can I get a shout-out to Avanara? Yes, you can, Holly. There you go. And a shout-out to Doom Extreme, because he's gone on the path for the greater good. Yes, he has. He earned my respect today. It's very, very rare that someone like that is able to earn my respect after earning my disrespect and ire early on. Well done, Doom Extreme. Continue to DPS, and we'll be proud of you. A shout-out to Nymph for finally managing to listen to your show again. Congratulations. There you go. A shout out to Saracen, who is win at Peggle, so he claims. I have not seen the empirical evidence. A shout out to Baleman, just for the sake of having one. A shout out to let's try again. Shizura on Thunderhorn EU. Shout out to Strange Brew Alliance on Eve, and more specifically, the 82nd All-Americans. Get our damn Rockwell in the wormhole. Possibly in the mountains, in fact. Yes, in the mountains. Where the hell's my dropping gone? Oh, it's disappeared. Whatever. I'll do it myself. In the mountains. Yeah, I'm getting good at that. I practice. A shout out to OMG, it's Jay! Oh, OMG, it is Jay. There you go. Apparently it is Jay, and there is OMG involved in this. Right, ladies and gents, we're about done. I promised you last week a parody song. Do I ever break my promises? No, I don't, ladies and gentlemen. Check out the rest of the shows on cynicalbrit.com. Enter the contest. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll be back after this and possibly a few more songs with some Zerg Please audio commentary for StarCraft 2, my first ever placement match. This is a Rage Against the Machine parody. It's called Standing in the Fire. Good night. This should be a familiar story to some of you. Have you ever had that one healer that you just can't get rid of? Maybe it's the GM and he just keeps screwing up. But healers are in short supply, so you've got to keep him right. Well, yeah! Repairs on my expense. The cost of being dire. The guild blessed me with a raid spot. Yet I ran into the fire. So make your list and heart to town for fish feast that will need. I'll fail and squander your commitment. Need where the rest will breed. Set my tune to autofollow, condemn you to your grave. We're stuck inside of Old War, the Leviathan of Flame. Hey, I'm standing in the fire. Hey, standing in the fire. My tactics make no sense, but loot is my desire. The party asked me that in future I stay out of the fire. Why I'm the leader, the healer, the epic loot stealer, a loose cannon disc priest. I'm always getting feared. Nothing rhymes with orange. The guy that's gonna blame ya, a bad compulsive liar, while standing in the fire. Hey, I'm standing in the fire. Hey, I'm standing in the fire. I am the bane of this guild, but boss and GM still. There is no other priest to take, so raid with the one that makes you fail. I am the leader, the healer, the epic loot stealer, the loose cannon disc priest, the spammer of my seer. When I speak, you will cringe, the priest that will not heal ya. I'm toasting my attire by standing in a fire. Honestly, guys, I don't know what your problem is. Really. I'm the GM. You've got to accept that. Where else are you going to find a healer? From Guild X? Hell no. No one's leaving there. They're showered in epics. Yeah, I'm standing in the fire. Standing in the fire. You see me standing in the fire. Standing in the fire.